There are so many companies that have had data breaches or data incidents or cyber attacks in the last couple of years. And now we're starting to see just tons of data breach settlements popping up every single month. Now, I know I talked to you guys just a couple of weeks ago about all of the freebies and deals and class action settlements that you may be able to claim in November, but data breach ones are a little different. They can be a little more difficult to qualify for, but they also pay out substantially more money than your average class action. A lot of the ones we're going to talk about today can pay $2,500, $5,000, $10,000, even up to $25,000 in some cases. So I want to go over all of these opportunities with you today. Now, as I'm talking to you about these settlements, I'm hoping that they're going to be financially helpful to you, but I certainly don't want to oversell how impactful these kinds of data breaches are. I have friends who have had their identities stolen this way, and it has just absolutely wrecked them financially as they've tried to recover from the fallout of this. So I absolutely believe that it's important to hold the companies accountable when this sort of stuff happens. A lot of times these settlements happen quietly, and you may get an email that goes to your junk folder, or you may get a letter that you never actually saw, and then you miss out on your opportunity for compensation. So that's why we're going to go over this today. I want to make sure that you never miss out on any money that you could qualify for. Now, before we dive into this list, I just want to make you aware of a couple of things. First, a lot of these cases are going to ask you for a claim ID when you go apply. If you don't know yours, don't panic. If you are an affected member of the class, you can go to the website and it's going to list an administrator that you can reach out to if you can't find your claim number. It may have gotten lost in your junk folder in your email. It may have gotten lost in the mail. Who knows? There are ways to reach out and see if you qualify and get the information you need to complete that claim if you are eligible. Now, I want you to know that in a lot of cases, you don't need to have documentation of harm as long as you're an eligible member of the class. However, having documentation of any expenses you incurred or time that you lost can help you get more money back in most cases. However, even if you don't have any of that documentation, you may be able to get what's called a pro-rata settlement payment, which is when they take the amount of the settlement and they divide it out equally among everybody who's filed a claim. Okay, so don't panic even if you don't have documentation. Now, these payments are not instant. This isn't money you're going to get overnight. Usually there's still some wrapping up to do in the court. Sometimes people can file objections, then it takes longer. But it is fairly easy to claim these. It usually only takes a few minutes. So I'm optimistic that this is going to be helpful for you. One last bit of housekeeping before we dive into the data breach list. You may qualify for additional opportunities for compensation if you qualify for any of the claims that our sponsor Injury Claims currently has open. You can go to their website at the link that you see over there in the red. They're looking for people who have been in auto accidents or who have suffered the effects of video game addiction or developed certain health conditions after eating processed food, who experience certain side effects after certain medications and more. There's all sorts of open claims over there and they're changing all the time, so make sure you go check out that link. And just a reminder, I am not a lawyer and this is not legal advice. We are just reviewing the information that I was able to find on these settlement websites in the hope of finding things that you may qualify for. Now let's talk about those data breach settlements, okay? If you were affected by the cyber attack on Shields Healthcare Group in March of 2022, you could be eligible for up to $25,000 for any out-of-pocket costs, losses, or lost time that you lost due to this cyber attack. Now, if you don't have enough evidence to back up those claims, you could still get a one-time cash payment of $50 with no documentation required. If you are part of that settlement class, you can claim yours at shieldsdatasettlement.com by December 3rd. If you were affected by the Columbia University healthcare data incident that began September 11th of 2023 and wrapped up on March 7th of 2024, then you could receive 2 years of SciEx Medical Shield Complete and up to $10,000 to reimburse documented losses or a pro-rata cash payment as well. You need to claim yours at columbiahealthcaredatabreach.com by November 25th. If you were impacted by the Urbancal LLP cybersecurity incident back in February of 2023, you could be eligible to receive 2 years of 3 bureau credit monitoring services and either up to $10,000 to reimburse those documented losses or a pro-rata cash payment that is expected to be at least $50. You can claim yours at kebdatasettlement.com by November 25th. If you were affected by the 2023 data breach that affected the Infosys McCamish systems, you could receive credit monitoring and either up to $6,000 for your losses or a cash payment that is expected to be somewhere between $30 but could be up to $599 per person depending on how many people file those claims. You can claim yours at infosysdatasettlement.com by December 1st. If your data was compromised in the Prudent Financial data breach in February of 2024, you have a couple of options. You could receive up to $5,000 to cover your losses, or if your Social Security number or taxpayer identification number were affected, you could receive between $200 and $599. If you lived in California at the time that you were impacted, you could be owed between $100 and $599, or you could get a pro-rata cash payment without any proof of loss. You need to file your claim at prudentfinancialdataBreach.com by November 17th. The Canon settlement is in relation to a data security incident that took place in January of 2023. If you are eligible, you could receive 2 years of SciEx Medical Shield medical data monitoring and either up to $5,000 to reimburse your losses or a cash payment of around $100 with no documentation. You can claim yours at canonsettlement.com by November 25th. If you were impacted by the data incident at Boston Children's Health Physicians in September of 2024, you could receive 2 years of SciEx Medical Shield medical data monitoring and either up to $5,000 to reimburse documented losses or a cash payment of around $100 with no documentation. You can claim yours at dpmdatasettlement.com by November 24th of 2025. If your data was compromised in the April 17th, 2024 Octapharma Plasma data breach, you could receive up to $5,000 for your documented losses or a one-time flat cash payment of around $100. You can get another $50 flat cash payment if you lived in California on that day, or up to 3 years of credit monitoring services. You can claim yours at opidatasettlement.com by November 14th. You may be eligible for the CarePro Health Data Services settlement if you were affected by their data incident in November of 2023. If you are eligible, you could receive up to 2 years of credit monitoring services and either up to $5,000 for documented losses or a pro-rata cash payment of around $100. You can claim yours at careproclassaction.com by December 3rd. The York County School of Tech breach occurred between March 27th and April 26th of 2023, and if your data was affected in that breach, you could receive up to $5,000 if you have documented out-of-pocket losses, or a flat payment of $45 even if you don't have any documentation. You can claim yours at yorkdatasettlement.com by November 21st. The Cornwell Quality Tools Company breach took place in September of 2022, and if you are eligible, you could receive 2 years of credit monitoring and fraud protection services, as well as up to $60 for the time you lost, up to $500 for ordinary out-of-pocket losses, and up to $5,000 for documented extraordinary losses. Or you could receive a cash payment of $50 if you don't want to jump through all the hoops for all those extra things. You can claim yours at cqtdatasettlement.com by November 27th. If your data was affected by the November 2023 data breach involving Refresco Beverages, you could receive up to $500 in out-of-pocket expenses, up to $100 for your lost time, or up to $5,000 for extraordinary losses due to that incident. You can claim yours at refrescodatabreach.com by December 4th. If you were affected by the data incident that affected Eastern Radiologists on November 24th of 2023, you could be eligible for 1 year of free medical data monitoring, as well as up to $5,000 in documented losses and a pro-rata cash payment. You need to claim yours at easternradiologistsettlement.com by December 1st. If you were affected by the August 2023 Hospital Sisters Health System data breach, you could receive up to $5,000 if you have documented losses, or a one-time pro-rata cash payment. You can also receive up to 2 years of data monitoring through SciEx Financial Shield, which includes a $1 million financial fraud insurance, by the way. You can claim yours at hshsdatasettlement.com by November 14th. Now, if you were affected by the data incident involving OneBlood Inc., you could receive up to $2,500 for documented losses, or you could get a one-time cash payment of $60. You need to claim yours at onebloodDataSettlement.com by December 4th. If you were affected by the data breach that involved Frasier Child and Family Center in 2024, you could receive 2 years of credit monitoring services and either up to $2,500 if you have documented losses, or a pro-rata cash payment as well. You can claim yours at FrasierDataSettlement.com by December 1st. If you were affected by the Accumin data incident that occurred on December 11th of 2023, you could receive 1 year of free medical data monitoring and a cash payment of up to $2,500 for documented losses. If you were affected by the cyber attack on Dobson Technologies that took place between November 19th of 2022 and March 3rd of 2023, you could receive 1 year of credit monitoring services and either up to $2,000 for your out-of-pocket costs and losses, or a one-time cash payment of $50 with no documentation required. You can claim yours at DobsonTechSettlement.com by December 4th. If you were affected by the Transact USA data breach in September of 2024, you could be eligible for up to $1,500 for documented losses or a one-time cash payment of $50 without proof or explanation. You can claim yours at TransactUSASettlement.com by December 1st. If you were affected by the data breach that affected Medical Associates of Brevard that occurred in January of 2025, you could receive 1 year of Medical Shield Pro and up to $1,500 to reimburse your documented losses. You can claim yours at MedAssociatesBrevardDataBreach.com by December 1st. If you were affected by the 2024 data breach affecting JSP International Group Limited, you could receive 2 years of 3 credit bureau monitoring and up to $300 in compensation. You can claim yours at JSPDataSettlement.com by December 1st. If you were an SSM health patient who logged into your MyChart portal between July 6th of 2020 and February 10th of 2023, you could receive a $31.50 cash payment and also 1 year of Privacy Shield. You can claim yours at SSMHealthDataSettlement.com by November 25th. If you had location services enabled while you watched videos in the Patriots app between February 1st of 2022 and May 30th of 2025, you could receive a pro-rata payment from the settlement. You need to claim yours at PatriotsVPPASettlement.com by November 23rd. If you logged into your MMH patient portal between January 1st of 2020 and December 31st of 2023, you could receive a $25 cash payment. You can claim yours at mmchsettlement.com by December 1st. If you used your Hancock Health patient portal account between January 1st of 2020 and December 31st of 2023, you could receive a $25 cash payment, but you have to claim it at hhsettlement.com by December 1st. If you logged into your Aspirus patient portal between January 1st of 2019 and December 31st of 2025, you could receive a one-time $22 cash payment and up to 1 year of Privacy Shield Pro. Claim yours at AspirusDataSettlement.com by December 3rd. If you used your LCMC Health patient portal account between January 1st of 2019 and November 30th of 2022, you could receive a $15 cash payment and 1 year of Privacy Shield Pro. You can claim yours at lcmcdatasettlement.com by November 25th. If you were impacted by the data incident at Discovery Practice Management in June 2020, you could receive up to 3 years of Identity Defense Total Service for free. You could also receive reimbursement for any losses that were incurred as a result of the incident, but you will need proof to file that claim. You can claim yours at dpmdatasettlement.com by November 24th. And finally, you may be eligible for this if your data was compromised in the Jefferson Healthcare Pixel issue that ran from March 19th of 2020 to March 19th of 2024. If you are eligible, you could receive up to 12 months of Privacy Shield protection. You need to claim yours at jcphdpixelsettlement.com by November 17th. And of course, if you are looking for more ways to get cash, our sponsor Free Cash is amazing. They will pay you to play games, take surveys, and more. Just go ahead and click over there to give that a try. We would love to hear about your experiences with that. And we will be back soon with more ways that you can save money and get free stuff.